listen, we all know the boring take on this is where is Favre all time? He's great. I mean, he's not Brady or Montana or Peyton Manning or Elway, but he's in that next 20 all-time great quarterbacks with Aikman and Staubach and Terry Bradshaw and Steve Young and Jim Kelly and the like. What I do find interesting, and this speaks to so many things, that a lot of times in this country, something is popular but not critically acclaimed. Remember the show Home Improvement? You know, Home Improvement was loved by the people. Critics, Jay Leno crushed Letterman. Letterman was much more adored by the critics. That's just sometimes the way it works. You know, Gallo may sell the most wine. Oak Tree is the better wine. I think Aaron Rodgers is the better quarterback than Brett Farve. But I think Favre, and they're so different. I mean, Favre is Southern. Rodgers is West Coast. One's a good old boy. One's a hipster. One's a man of the people. One's aloof. One's all about family. One's about his latest girlfriend. One is a huge on-field risk taker, Favre. The other is a little reluctant sometimes to pull the trigger, much more precise, which I think fits today's game. One, Favre is loved and worshipped by teammates. Aaron Rodgers depends on the teammate. But Favre is beloved by the people. I think critically or clinically, Aaron Rodgers is the better quarterback. I think Letterman, his legacy is greater than Leno, but Leno was more relatable. And I think Favre is more home improvement, and I think Rodgers is more 30 Rock. That if you really ask the critics, you ask comedy writers, you ask comedians, they'd be like, oh, 30 Rock is really all-time funny. Modern Family, that's all-time funny. Roseanne, Home Improvement, you know, a lot of people liked it. I think Aaron Rodgers, but I think Favre is much easier to put your arms around and hug. If we're 15 minutes from Hollywood, I would say Favre is much more Tom Hanks. I mean, you almost feel like if Tom Hanks was in a bar, like let's say we go to lunch today and you saw Tom Hanks in there at Starbucks. You'd be like, hey, Tom, love your work. And he'd be like, hey, how are you? And my favorite movie. And he'd be like, but if you were at a Starbucks and let's say it was Daniel Day-Lewis or John Malkovich, and you were like, hey, Daniel Day, I loved you in, excuse me, let me move my ascot. I do not acknowledge you as a human being. I am suffering as an actor. As I drink my latte, I'm getting to a dark place. The Aaron Rodgers is not huggable. Well, maybe to his girlfriend, but I don't think he's a little hipster. He's a little coastal. He's a little aloof. He's had teammates rip him. Nobody's ever ripped Peyton Manning. You've never found a teammate, a receiver, that's ripped Peyton Manning. Never. Greg Jennings ripped Favre when they played together. Donald Driver was critical. Jermichael Finley was critical. These are his teammates. They're not like rival corners like Richard Sherman. So I've been critical of Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron's better than Favre. I think Favre was too ad-lib, too stubborn. He was rigid. He was reckless. He was wildly gifted. One of the great talents of all time, but sloppy, harder to coach. But there are so many reasons. That Monday night game when his dad passed, John Madden loved him. You know, and there was a point where Favre was, say, am I overstating on this? If I said to you, Brett Favre, for a brief time, was the most popular person in America, am I wrong? Honestly, I think he was the most popular person in America. Now, I'm saying playing. Once Jordan retired, I thought he was the most popular. After his dad died, there was a part you couldn't help but root for him.